Hi, I'm Brandon. I love Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Dan. I feel a little too close to you, and I despise Hallmark Christmas movies.
I'm Alonso, and I can barely recognize Hallmark Christmas movies. And this
is the Deck the Hallmark podcast.
Deck the Hallmark, it's his podcast.
Brandon and friends host this podcast.
We hope you like this jolly podcast.
Man, out of the gate hot.
Hello, everybody.
Man.
That's our first intro.
First
today.
intro. We did not have to do a second take of the
Yep.
intro because we never do.
We never do.
We've done this so many times, like riding a bike.
Brian is not here today. He and I promise it has nothing to do with the fact that this is the first same-sex Hallmark Christmas movie. That's not why he's not here.
But why'd you say it then, Brand?
It does make it seem
No
like
one
it does
thought
make
it.
it seem like it's a cover-up.
No one thought it.
now there's a grain of doubt.
I know.
And it's not out of protest. Brian's not here, but it's not a
In no way could it be considered.
Poor Brian.
I promise.
Brian's under the weather, everybody.
Yes.
It's
I
okay.
feel better, Brian.
Yeah.
But Alonso's here. Alonso, hello. Merry Christmas to you.
Merry Christmas. I don't know if people know this, but generally the day that the countdown to Christmas announcement comes out and we get all the titles, within about 5 minutes, I'm texting Brand, I want this episode.
Yes, of course.
And this was my dibs for this year.
Yeah, and you know what? You've done enough around here at Deck the Hallmark. You're one of us, Alonso. You pretty much get whatever one you choose, unless it's the Jonathan Shapiro Jewish movie.
I would never.
You would never.
You would never.
I would
and you would
never.
never. Yeah,
Some
that's
things
right.
are sacred.
And
That's
not
some
out of
things are
protest.
Yeah, when we do Hanukkah on Rye, we're going to say Alonso Duralde is not joining us.
And it's not because
not
has
because-
nothing to
Listen,
do with the fact.
Don't get it twisted. It has nothing to do.
Oh boy. Oh boy.
Man, I love this bit.
Well,
Oh, man.
it's too bad. It's too bad. Alonso, I feel like we've been, you and I specifically have been training for like this time of year, all year, talking about Christmas movies every week for the past year. Now that we're about a week away, like, are you ready, or are you starting to get sad? Do you get post Christmas blues, anticipating the post Christmas blues?
I a little bit. I can see it around the corner. What's going to sort of, I have a giant deadline coming up after Christmas ends. So it's a mix of being sad that Christmas is going to be over and also being sad that I have to then start really working on this other thing. But shockingly, I'm caught up, which never happens. Usually Thanksgiving week happens and I'm like weeks behind, but somehow I have gotten caught up. So
Can you tell everybody about the thing that you're writing instead of just saying this thing? Because we're really excited.
Sure. Yes. It's been announced and now I will tell you, and then I'm not going to mention it again until it's actually written, because I don't want to I think everything is jinxed. I'm writing a book for our friends at Running Press and Turner Classic Movies called Hollywood Pride. It's a history of LGBTQ cinema from the silence to today.
Fantastic.
They actually asked Brian. Guy misses
He was
one
like,
episode.
I think you know.
The guy misses one episode.
Yeah, this poor guy. That's
too
right.
bad.
That's right.
Are you guys ready to talk about The Holiday Sitter?
Yes.
Oh, I'm ready.
It originally aired on December 11th, 2022, and it went a little something like this. We meet Sam, who is on a date with a handsome doctor who is all about being an uncle and is like showing pictures of kids, and Sam has no interest in any of that. Sam is also like, likes money, helps people make more money, all that good stuff, and is excited to be going to Hawaii by himself for Christmas. We then meet Jason. Jason is Sam's sister's neighbor. You got it? Sam's sister's neighbor. He has a lot of nieces and nephews, absolutely loves kids, wants kids of his own one day. Sam is planning on spending Christmas in Hawaii, but gets a call as he's packing for Hawaii. Hey, it's your sister. we need somebody to watch the kids while we go to the hospital. They're adopting a baby. That baby is about to be born a week before they were supposed to be born. And so we can't find anybody to watch the kids last minute at Christmas. So will you do it? The problem here is Sam is awful with kids. He's watched them before and there was flames. We don't want that. So, but Sam says, you know what? I'm here. I will do it. So he gets there, and Jason is watching the kids until he arrives, and he realizes that Jason is amazing with the kids. So since he knows that he is not good with the kids and doesn't even know how to make a vegan pancake, he decides that he wants to hire Jason to help him uncle. Jason agrees. He needs some money because he's about to start the adoption process himself. So he says, okay, I'm in for this. More good news is that they are both gay, and Sam is very interested in Jason. The more that he gets to know him, they're starting to hang out more, and they're making things like Christmas waffles, and they have quite the moment making waffles, as you do. Jason opens up about his past relationships, his breakups, especially when he starts to open up about how he wants kids. The kids' parents call and say that there's a snowstorm and that they might not be able to make it home for Christmas. Sam's not having it. He makes some calls. He's like, I will get you home for Christmas. But he does agree to move back his trip to Hawaii even more so that he can stay with the kids and also hang out with Jason more. Sam is starting to like the kids even more as well. He's working on plays and is even making breakfast by himself. Things are really happening. It's Christmas Eve. Sam opens up about his favorite Christmas tradition as he's talking to Jason. He says he likes to turn off all the lights and listen to Silent Night. So they turn off all the lights and Jason starts to sing Silent Nights. Obviously, you got to hold hands. Obviously, you have to kiss, except it's an almost kiss, everybody. It's an almost kiss. Sam's sister gets home. Dadgummit. Sam, as Jason's getting ready to leave, says, hey, a deal's a deal. Here's a check. And there's a little more on top to help you with the adoption. But Jason kind of seems weird about this, and then he ends up putting the check back in Sam's stocking without Sam know, and kind of walks out, and Sam feels like something just got weird. I don't know what happened. So the next day, it's Christmas Day, and he finds the check in the stocking, and he's like, oh no, I offended him. What am I going to do? This is awful. And so finally, he gains the courage to go to Jason's house, knock on the door. Jason is there. He opens up. Sam says, I'm so sorry. Jason says, no. And they make up, and then they end up kissing, and they spend the rest of Christmas together, and we all cheer. And that, my friends, was The Holiday Sitter.
We did it.
Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll break this movie down here on Deck the
Hallmark.
Hallmark. Wow.
I know. It's right on it.
Fast.
I know. I was waiting on you. You went fast.
Hey, everybody. Great to see you. We're talking about The Holiday Sitter. And Alonso is here, and he's hating his life. He's questioning his life choices. Let's break this movie down. Let's talk about it. The Holiday Sitter. A historic movie on the Hallmark Channel. Let's talk about what we thought, share our hot takes, and I will start with my good friend Alonso. Alonso, Holiday Sitter, what'd you think?
You know, it's interesting. In thinking about this, I was sort of grappling with a couple of things that I first thought of as bugs that then realized were features. So plot-wise, this feels very old Hallmark in terms of it's the big city person and the small town one who sort of shows them to embrace family and all these other values. But then I thought, you know what? Hallmark is already like stepping out into this new area of like, let's center this movie on a queer couple. So let's make everything else as comfortable as possible for viewers who are maybe hesitant to take this leap. So I think the fact that they stick to a very traditional plot for this network was intentional and was smart. And so I think then within that, they're able to really kind of play around with the specificity of how a relationship between two guys is going to be different than the normal, usual heteronormative relationship that we get on Hallmark. And so I applaud them for taking that route, and I think what they've come up with is really lovely. And as a first step goes, I think yes, you could point to and say they're playing it safe, but I think that's what first steps do. And so I look forward to see where else we go in telling these kind of stories in the future.
Yeah, I do think it was safe, but I also think that it was very funny. It was a lot funnier than if Hallmark tried to make this movie a couple years ago. Like there was like letting him
Ernest.
Letting him like do slapstick stuff was really fun. Like Jonathan was fantastic at that. I watch Hallmark Christmas movies for good vibes, for good stories, for all those Christmas feels, and this movie delivered on all of it. It's just a very sweet movie that is everything that you want out of a Hallmark Christmas movie. I can't imagine somebody who's a fan of Hallmark Christmas movies being offended by this movie. It is such a Hallmark Christmas movie, in all of the best ways. I loved it. I will say, in a season where we've had some of the most amazing Hallmark Christmas movies of all time that are telling like stories like that we would have never seen on Hallmark before. And this is definitely something we would never seen on Hallmark before, but a story that we would have. So for that reason, it's not going to break into probably my top 5, but I think right now it's in my top 10. Really great movie. And I've grown to love watching Jonathan Bennett do his thing, and I really enjoyed him in this movie. And the new I didn't know who the other guy was.
George Crissa, is that his name?
Yeah,
really like George Crissa, and I could take a leap into his eyes. So that's always good. Dan?
If you can't imagine a Hallmark fan not liking this movie, I would advise you to stay off Facebook.
That's right. I started watching this movie, and as I was getting to know the characters and the setup, about 2/3 of the way through, I was like, I think this might be a gay Christmas movie. Sorry. I was tricked by Hallmark. I can't believe it. No. In all seriousness, we don't probably say enough on this show that representation matters. It really does. And it doesn't just matter because it's right and it's good. It matters because it raises the quality across the board. What you're seeing in Hallmark this year is more people get to tell stories that represent themselves on screen. And when that happens, they take it seriously. They care about the product that's put on screen, and you get a much more authentic story. This movie is not breaking any new ground. It is a nice love story in a Christmas movie setting that's Hallmark has made 1,000 times. I credit Jonathan Bennett a lot here. He is already in the 2 movies he's allowed to play queer characters. They're already more different than some of the actors that appear on the Hallmark Channel. He already crafted 2 different characters. Some Hallmark actors spend their whole lives playing the same character over and over again. This guy has already created 2 very distinct characters. It's a funny movie. It is like you said, Alonso. I think they played it safe. It reminded me, I know that the Christmas setup you probably like more than this, and they do go back to, I believe, a big town in Wisconsin. But the Christmas setup to me just felt like it was a fairly routine movie aside from its historic nature. This is Hallmark's version of that. I think Single All the Way on Netflix is probably better than both qualitatively, but from a standpoint of doing this and Hallmark saying representation matters and we're going to put our money where our mouth is. And then for Jonathan Bennett, I mean, look, to executive produce this movie, to star in this movie, to help write this movie, I believe, what a big swing for him. And you knew that he was carrying a lot of weight here. I told somebody at Christmas Con, like, you heard all these stories. This is the only place you're going to hear Holiday Sitter compared to Black Panther. But you heard all these stories about Chadwick Boseman when he was making the first Black Panther going, we can't make this wrong. Like, it has to be right every day. And you get the feeling that this meant that much to Jonathan Bennett. And so that's awesome. I'm happy that it came across the way it did, which is a Christmas movie like the other 36 we've watched this year. So kudos to them. Kudos to him and George Crissa, who I thought were both really, really good. And it was it definitely felt just as much as Christmassy, if not more, than most of what we watched all year.
Let's talk about the feels. Alonso, any Christmas feels or feels in general for you?
Oh, absolutely. And real quick, I want to give a shout out to Ali Liebert, who is a
Yes.
Hallmark. We've known her as a Hallmark actress and has directed this one and is queer herself. And yeah, I think she did a bang up job as well. Yeah, quite a few feels here. The scene where he is telling the niece that just because there's going to be a new baby, it doesn't mean that her parents are gonna, that there's not enough love to go around. You see it coming. You know that the kid is bristling about the fact that she's not going to be the baby of the family anymore. But that scene is handled really well, and it to me, I always feel like there are moments where we leap from A to C with a character and we don't get what B is, and I have one of those coming up. And wait, what? But I thought that was the moment of like, oh, this guy is developing his sense of how to talk to children, how to be a good uncle, how to incorporate family stuff in his life in a way that clearly he has, as a child of divorce and for other factors that we'll talk about, has not embraced that. And so I thought that scene was really well handled. And I mean, the monologue with the sister at the end where he talks about not you, like that hit me hard, because when Dave and I got married in 1997, and we always put it in quotes, and we got married in 1997 because it was not legal anywhere. Not in Vermont, not in California, nowhere. And the reason we did it partially was because it was just a ritual that we felt was important for us and for our families, but also because we never thought it was going to be legal in our lifetime. We never thought, oh, if we wait until 2008 or 2015, then it'll happen. No, there was no roadmap to that at all. Like DOMA had just passed, thanks Bill Clinton. And so, so it never occurred to us that getting married in a legal sense was going to be an option. So we were just going to do it guerrilla style. So I totally get the idea of this character thinking, I shoved all that aside. I never thought about it for me because for so much of my life, I was told very clearly that I was not going to be entitled to have that. And so I really love that. And I thought that's such a great thing to throw into a movie like this, because the same people who are so mad that this movie exists and who are so performatively telling you online that they're not even going to watch it are the people who were telling this guy, not you. That's
right.
them. So I like to think anybody who was sort of a little softer on that subject could see this scene and be like, oh, what part did I play in this maybe? Or now I understand why, XYZ. I think that speech delivers a lot.
Yeah. I mean, the Silent Night scene worked for me all the way.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it hits me multiple times during the holiday season when I walk down in the morning, and of course my tree's on all night. Because I, like to risk it. You got to risk it for the Christmas biscuit.
That's right. You got to risk burning your house down.
It's not Christmas until there's a fire hazard.
They're LED lights. Nothing's going to happen. We're fine. But to come down in the stillness of the morning or in the evening and just be sitting on the light of the Christmas tree and have the Christmas music going, it's fantastic. And then to have Jason, is it Jason in the movie? Start humming Silent Night and then start to sing it, and the handled, boy, well crafted, and also just all the holiday feels. It's holiday and romance all in one.
All in one.
I want to throw in real quick. I also had feels of the fact that Jason was the youngest of 7, which I am, and he has 18 nieces and nephews, and I have 19. So
wow, you got to beat by one there.
I felt seen.
Yeah. I was looking at Jason. I was like, "Am I looking at Alonso right now?" I feel like
6
I'm
of
looking
one,
at
half dozen of
the
the
same
other.
person.
It's unbelievable. Yeah. So the monologue that he gives to his sister there is just a really, really impressive piece of acting too by Jonathan Bennett, who, that's not been a calling card of his in his other Hallmark movies. I'm not saying he's a bad actor. I'm saying what he's been asked to do has never been that. And so it felt layered, it felt deep, it felt emotional, and you could feel him working through that scene, and that was great. And then also, and Brian, you pointed this out, but when he looks at the dog and says, "Stop trying to make fetch happen,"
yes,
it's got to be a Mean Girls reference.
It absolutely wonderful.
Is. That's a pretty great bit to get to throw into this movie.
Yeah.
I really did appreciate that quite a bit. So
I will say, Jonathan did a great. Was it a post or an article or something where he's talking about kind of like getting the start in Mean Girls and getting however many years later making this movie. It's a really great read. Let's take a quick break. We'll come back. We'll do the wait what and then what the Hallmark here on Deck the Hallmark. We're back. Thank you, Alonso. I know you were hesitant, but you joined in.
Ryan did just call me, and he wanted to make it very clear that this was not out of a protest.
Oh,
poor man is unwell. Let him be.
I'd say. Let's get to the wait what, and let's start with you, Alonso. What in this movie made you go wait what?
Okay, so at the beginning of the movie, where we realize where Sam realizes that he has to give up his trip to Hawaii because his sister is making this request, they do the record scratch sound.
Yeah,
effect.
They
do
sure
the
did.
record scratch.
In the year of our Lord 2022, we're still doing
right.
the record scratch. Like that's a bad. Like they don't even do that in trailers anymore. That's such a like. I couldn't believe they unpacked that one, but you know,
It was
here
a
we
record
are.
scratch moment when they
Man.
did the record scratch. In this
Exactly.
movie.
Could not
But I
believe it
heard
happened.
one in real life.
Man, that's next level.
The thing about going from A to C without B, Sam goes from like a complete incompetent in the kitchen who the last time he tried to cook something starts a fire to
right.
making this lavish breakfast all by himself. It's like, you know, you had one pancake tutorial. Like that was your trip here. And
Well,
like,
it's like
wow.
he looks at the recipe, clenches his fist, and has a look in his eyes like he just went to Ace Hardware for a commercial, and like he literally is like all it takes is just some elbow grease and some stick-to-itiveness.
A can-do spirit.
That's right. And he just goes in there and makes a Martha Stewart level breakfast. That was impressive.
Yeah. I understand it's always a tricky thing in this movie to get the point where there's a problem between the couple that then has to be resolved. But that the problem revolves around the check when this began as a business transaction.
Right.
And obviously it evolved past that, but like it would be worse for him to be like, oh, well, we're kind of into each other now, so I'm assuming this is all free, right? You know,
right.
And so that just became too like, oh, really, are we doing this? But you had to do something. I get it. So, you know,
the best version of this movie is the one where he does give him the check and he puts it back in the stock. Like the way they did it, like there's nothing wrong there. Like that was my thing is it's not a misunderstanding. I've got to write the check. I've got to give it back. Everybody wins.
Bingo.
So when he first did it, I thought that it was a romantic thing, and then it turned somehow into a I'm offended thing, and I didn't know how it happened.
That didn't make any sense.
Exactly, and it's like, and I love that they at least give the brother the line like, so that he fulfilled the terms of your agreement. Like, right. I'm not getting this. You know?
The brother talking it through was the best. Was like, okay, that makes sense. Checks
and
out.
You want that guy to be a lead?
Yeah, that's why I want the Hallmark. But thanks
sorry.
for I'll get there. I promise.
I'm just trying to help.
No, you did a great job. We watched it together. Thank you for being a good friend.
I'm trying to be a good
travel
listener.
down the road and back again.
Yeah, no, the brother's good, but I love that he's giving script notes during the movie. Basically.
That's right.
And then this one, I think you guys as parents will appreciate the fact that the young girl doesn't wake up first on Christmas morning.
Yeah, no, I had that written down.
She would the second the sun came through her curtains, she would be bounding out of bed and getting everybody else awake. Like that's how kids work.
That's how kids work. Exactly. Oh, my kid. The last 2 years has thought the day after we got the tree was Christmas. So we get the tree on Friday after Thanksgiving. On Saturday, we've been up at 5 a.m. So I don't even want to hear it where this kid's like, what day is it? Get out of here.
Yeah. Anything else?
That's about it.
Okay. I appreciated the countdown to Christmas. I found it weird that they used like the Grinch font to do the countdown. Did you notice this? It was like a weird font to countdown to Christmas, and it kept distracting me. I kept seeing it and just being like, "What's happening? Why is this the choice for this?" At the show thing, the guy gives a speech beforehand and he's like, it's time to start the show. And for some reason, when he does that, the spotlight just comes in so hard on this guy.
hard.
It's time to start the show. Boom, boom. So hard on the guy. And he's like, what's going on? What was with that spotlight? I also got a kick out of speaking from going from A to C. I don't know how the kid that we saw acting or trying to do lines earlier in the movie gave that performance. I don't know how it's possible. But that kid
No way.
knocked it out of the park.
Especially after hearing that the girl likes him back.
Right.
I can't believe he told him that before the performance.
Yeah, you don't do that.
Well, I think maybe the idea was that was the confidence booster he needed.
Okay.
Perhaps.
Yeah, no.
You know how middle school boys, when they like a girl, they hear that the girl likes them back.
That's the thing. Middle school boys,
now I'm filled with
they're
confidence.
they're so confident.
So
They're always
confident.
so confident and so like comfortable in their own skin.
Yeah.
Especially on stage with the brightest spotlight of all time. Last but not least, he I believe it's Jason. Is it Jason at the end of this movie? Leaves the door open?
Yes.
Yeah. Jason, he opens up the door, he sees the airport van or whatever outside, and instead of closing the door, he just walks away.
Everywhere. He just walks inside, leaves the door wide open.
It is cold out there. It's cold out there. That's more dangerous than me leaving up on my lights for 2 months straight in my house. They're fine, everyone. I do.
At least you're not going to get
LED.
hypothermia.
LEDs, which means I don't know. Go ahead.
So this woman, Jonathan Bennett's sister, during Christmas break is making her children wake up at 7:15 in the morning.
Yeah.
Why? Why are you doing that, you monster?
You let them sleep in.
It's Christmas break. You can't make the 13-year-old dude. He's got to wake up at 7:15 on the Thursday, the 22nd of December. That's unconscionable. That's un-American. You can't do that. I was so mad for these people.
And you can't stay up and read either.
That's right. No reading. Get to bed early. This guy, they make it sound like the nursery's finished. They make it sound like the nursery's finished. And then we find out on December 23rd that he has not painted the nursery. Now, I got to be honest. If I'm bringing a newborn home on the 24th, which is the plan, I'd love for it to not smell like paint for my
you
child.
want those fresh fumes,
Maybe get let's just go ahead and get the lead-based paint and put it up. This baby's immune system is going to be ironclad.
The one good thing is that the chances of the baby sleeping in the nursery for the first few weeks are low. So you got that going.
Yeah, but good grief, man. Yeah. You waited till that day. You're like, you got it done. It's done.
Basically done.
Dude, painting is it's not an hour-long job as they suggest in this movie. He has a roller. Jonathan Bennett comes in, removes his sweater, and grabs a touch-up brush.
To show you the difference between me and these guys, and their commitment to painting.
I remember this.
I was like, you know what? Because we just bought a house next door to Dan.
That's right.
Before moving in, my goal was to paint the upstairs. It's like wood paneling, and I was going to paint it white. I did one wall, and it's still just that one wall.
It's an accent.
Yeah, it is. It's a weird place accent, but yes, it is an accent.
You showed up after your kids went to bed at your rental house, and I walked in. And the next morning, I was like, "How'd it go?" And you went, "Not good."
The thing I did not think through is you gotta really prime those wood walls. And,
wood paneling. You can't just slap a coat of white on there.
Yeah. So,
let wood paneling be wood paneling. Come on.
I have I'm not against
it. Is now.
Yeah, I was about to say.
Yeah.
So I have to mention this because it is you want to know if this is a real Hallmark movie or not. They have a play on Christmas Eve night with children in it. I mean, guys, the 23rd, maybe Christmas Eve night, nobody has any plans.
Got to Hallmark it up.
Let's make all the parents get out here for a play.
That's Garland for you.
In an actual church, yes. Community theater, no.
No way. And as nice as the Silent Night scene was, and I'm happy that you enjoyed it. Jonathan Bennett looks into George Chris's eyes, and he has the gall to say this line: "My family had no Christmas traditions, except we would turn out all the lights and listened to Silent Night. So you mean to tell me that your family didn't do anything Christmas all year long, but then all of a sudden things got really all the lights and sang a very like low-key Christmas carol and then just went back about your day? Like that is just absurd
It's
to
a
me.
very specific Christmas tradition for a family that has
We
no
didn't
Christmas
hang the
traditions.
stockings or pick up the tree or open gifts or go caroling. But I tell you what to do. We'd be in the middle of our busy day. We'd turn all the lights off and sing Silent Night. And then we just go back. It's like Mark Paul Gosselaar saying time out. It was just a quick one. That's all it was.
Look, any Hallmark movie where people aren't dancing to Silent Night, I look at as a win.
Yeah. And then last but not least, and this could be my complete naivete, I was shocked that Jonathan Bennett's character did not know George Chris's character was gay until the boots comment. Like that
The
is
loafers,
like
yeah.
35, loafers, excuse me. Like he says the name of the loafers, and then Bennett does a double take and realizes, oh, I'm in a gay Hallmark movie. Like I could, like, it was like 30 minutes into this movie. Was that not, am I crazy there?
I was a little unsure. I had to kind of look at that beginning part again, and I think part of it is that the sister had told him about Jason, but never said, "Oh, and he's gay," because
Okay.
she knew that she didn't think they were going to be matched. So I think he just assumed contractor, whatever.
Gotcha.
And it's not just that he calls out the name of the boots; it's that the look down and the look up is like, that's a gay moment, which I very much appreciated. By the way, and I don't know why I forgot this. The other great feel of this movie is at the very end when the families come out and are cheering the fact that these guys have gotten together. That's the part that broke me. That's when I actually I got a little verklempt.
Well, they're all like they're going on such like it's a really
Yeah.
fun scene of like just not only that, but them all like yelling.
on,
that
it's on.
really happening. Yeah.
Bringing back that Jonathan Bennett doesn't know the house that his sister said is funny.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's a funny bit.
Yeah. That was that made me laugh because the first time I'm like, this is so stupid. He doesn't know where his sister lives, and then they bring him back in the end. I'm like, all right, you got me.
He's got house blindness.
The problem is he has the address, which should alleviate any confusion, but no. Could I look at the number on the house? Yes, but I will not. I will just do it based off of memory of looks. It's time for What the Hallmark is, where we wonder what could have been, maybe happened, gave some clarity to the questions that we still have. Alonso?
Well, mine kind of piggybacks on the not being able to tell the house apart thing. Look, I buy them as a couple. I think they're going to make this work. I want to know how long before Sam decides we really need an apartment in the city because the suburbs are just making me insane.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
he's giving up a lot of cool, of his life to sort of move out to this kind of cookie cutter community. And it's like, it's great. I get it. You're doing it for love. But at the same time, like the new Broadway season is going to start. You're going to be like,
Well, I will say this: is it Jason, George Chris's character, Jason?
Yeah.
He says that the only reason he moved back home was he was tired of like dating guys that didn't want to settle down. And so
Right.
I feel like he probably was okay with the city too. Like it would almost be, now that you
True.
found someone that wants to settle down, you can settle down in the city. So I feel like that's very possible for them.
I like that. That.
There you go.
So Sam found out that Jason's niece likes his nephew. Runs back, tells him big fun ha-has. After the movie, she's playing it very cool. Like, I'm not entirely convinced that she likes him. Does anything happen between these middle school in love people that lovebirds that she just, I'm still not convinced. I got to be honest with you. I know the rumor mill is running wild about these middle schoolers, and Jonathan Bennett is jazzed to share the tea. But I was unsure. I'm unsure about how much she actually likes him. Does anything? Do they start dating? Was that performance enough to make him a hot commodity? Maybe he moves on quickly. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Wow, it's good.
Yeah.
There's a dude that plays Jason's brother. Is the actor's name is Matty Pinocchio. That is the best pronunciation I have. He has been in. He was in Just One Kiss earlier this year. He's in Love Hard. He's in a lot of these movies filmed in Canada. And he, in all of these movies,
He's in Love Heart.
yeah, he's the editor that gets
That's
mad at her.
right.
He's really funny.
Yeah.
This dude can play such a range. Why has he not gotten a lead in one of these movies? He's really funny. He's really talented. And he's shown up in even a bad Hallmark movie. You're like, this guy is hilarious. I don't remember the name of the movie, but you were like, I just want a whole movie of this guy. He's really good. He should have a lead. I want to know what the deal is there, because he shows up and he's this great character in all these movies. And I feel like it's past time for him to get a lead in one of these.
For sure.
It's no Pinocchio lie. Give Pinocchio a try.
Wow. Let's stop it right there.
Could we not? I also want to say Gabrielle Rose has joined my pantheon of great Hallmark moms with like Barbara Niven and Terrell Rothery.
She's great.
Dynamite in this.
She is great. You're right. And I do have one more feels in the comments. Someone said that House Blindness is Chris Russell's next movie. I don't know who said it. And then next in quotes, I can finally see a home. I don't know who it was, but man, that's the funniest thing. That's great.
Hold on. I thought you were.
Do they make glasses for that?
But now,
as much fun as we had on that episode, I really wish Alonso could have joined us for most colorful time of the year.
Oh,
it was a
trip. Gift that keeps on giving, that one.
What a trip.
It was Susie Geisler. No surprise there.
That's classic.
Bravo.
That's right. Susie. We did it. Congratulations. We're gonna be back tomorrow. We went a little out of order, I guess, technically, but that's what sometimes you have to.
That's right.
When there's historic moments, history is worth.
You want to wrap it up?
Yeah, we'll be back tomorrow. Until then, Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.